Okay, Shalom, Shalom, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Koholayimla, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. I just want to say the water to all the Akim and Achwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Achana Nawach, just coming at you with another quick lesson. Praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. I want to play a quick news clip. And so let me get this fair use real quick. Because even with news clips, it doesn't matter. Esau is on our heads, man, about copyright this, copyright that. So just to be on the safe side. But this is the Fair Use Act. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips to balance in favor of fair use. So I want to play this quick little news clip of Esau's kingdom and how unfair and how unjust he is towards you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which we know that we're under the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. You know, the curses go off into exactly what the type of stuff that this man would be doing to us. This is just one thing. So let me just play this video real quick.
New research by Stanford University shows that black people receive prison sentences that are, on average, more than 30% longer than white people who have committed the same crime and have similar criminal backgrounds. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. CBS 8's Richard Allen is here with the work now being done to try to overturn some of these sentences, including right here in San Diego, Richard.
Well, that's right. It's getting a lot of attention across the state. Now, attorneys from Stanford's Three Strikes Project, working with the Legal Defense Fund, are turning to California's Racial Justice Act to try to combat what they call racially discriminatory sentencing in California. Now, passed back in 2020, this law allows those sentenced to challenge their case on grounds of racial bias. But so far, there have been very few, if any, successful claims.
No more. It's time to end racial discrimination in sentencing in California.
And new data analyzed by Stanford University's Three Strikes Project and the NAACP's Legal Defense Fund showed that inequity in sentencing is prevalent statewide.
The sad truth is that California, like so many other states in our country, people of color are serving significantly longer sentences than white people.
And while the data show that this disparity exists among all non-white groups, it's especially stark when it comes to African Americans, showing that in California, black people receive prison sentences that are on average more than 30% longer than white people who have committed the same crime and who have the same criminal background.
And not only do people of color receive longer sentences on average for some of these typical crimes, but also they receive more sentences under California's Three Strikes Law, which imposes the most severe punishment, life in prison.
According to Michael Romano of Stanford's Three Strikes Project, here in San Diego, there are 3 times as many black people serving 3 strikes life sentences as white people for low-level robberies.
And on average, black people get sentences that are almost 30% longer than white people convicted of robbery in San Diego.
Stanford has now filed legal petitions under the state's Racial Justice Act, including here in San Diego, to try to overturn 18 prison sentences in which they say race played a role. Romano says the cases they've selected were low-level, non-violent crimes.
Our clients have committed their crimes. They are not the most upstanding citizens, I will say that, but they shouldn't be serving longer sentences because of their color of their skin. At the end of the day, people should not be behind bars. They certainly shouldn't be arrested, but absolutely should not be behind bars for a longer period of time based on their race.
And these disparities in the criminal justice system also exist before sentencing as well. Now, data previously obtained by CBS 8 also showed that in the city of San Diego, black people account for 26% of all arrests, despite making up less than 6% of the overall population.
Some really telling numbers. Getting back to these legal petitions that have now been filed to overturn these sentences, how long could it take before these cases are heard?
Well, yeah, that's a very good question. So there are 18 petitions filed in 8 different jurisdictions throughout the state, including here in San Diego County. Now, the attorneys say that it could take years for these cases, depending on where they're filed, to work their way through the system. They're also anticipating the...
Okay, I think we got enough there. You get the point. And we're living in a, unjust society. But again, we're under those curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28. So let me grab a quick scripture real quick. Because you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. And all these nations have it out for you, Going into the book of Psalms chapter 83. All those enemies that's being named off in Psalms 83 are the enemies of the Lord. And they're your enemies as well, because the Lord chose you as a special or peculiar people, according to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and 6. So these nations have a jealousy against you that, and it's a hatred. It's really a perpetual hatred that they have towards you as a people, because, it's prophetic for one, but it's a part of these curses, man. So let's get Deuteronomy chapter 28. Because he sets it up where our people would be in a position of being, fucked up or, taking shit or stealing shit. Not that Jake should be doing it, because, we was following those 10 commandments. And even though our people do a lot of, do follow, all Jake not out here stealing. Every Jake that's been to jail is not actually guilty of what it is that Esau is saying that they done. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just unjust anyway. Here you go. You have a country that's got a Department of Justice, a DOJ, trillions of dollars that flow through that place, But you stole a whole continent. You raped, robbed, and pillaged everybody. You kidnapped and brought the very people here that you're discriminating against and that you complain so much about committing all these crimes. Now, had you not kidnapped them and brought them here, then you wouldn't be able to complain about them at all. Now, you're the criminal. You're the criminal, but you're trying to make it seem as if we're the criminals, beyond your criminality. It's amazing, man. You know what I'm saying? But hey, that's a part of these curses that we're under. Now, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let me get, I think that's like 46 or so. Matter of fact, no, let me start at verse 1. Just to get some context, right? Because this is a contract that we made with the Lord. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord, Yahweh thy God. Now, the true name of the Father is Yahweh. You see L-O-R-D in all caps, that's Yahweh, which means that he exists, or the existing one. And the true name of the Son, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus, that they're front. Matter of fact, they even stole that, and whitewashed the image and gave you some white boy or some, blonde hair, blue eyed surfer or some damn goddamn hippie and named him Jesus, man. Knowing full well that's not the Lord's name, and that's not the way that the Lord looked. The Lord's name is Yahweh, which means that he's the savior or deliverer in the Paleo Hebrew. So we got to always cut that too, because these people have lied to our people during, and I've been seeing a few videos popping up too as of late. Seeing a couple yesterday where, you got these so-called white people that's online confessing that the Lord's name is not really Jesus, and that he's not really a so-called white man, and that he's actually a so-called black man. So now all of a sudden, in this day and age, and we know that this is just a part of the prophecies playing out as well, because Esau is starting to tell on themselves, So we get that part of it. And they don't have no choice really, because the gig is up. You know what I'm saying? There's too much information online. They can't keep up with all this information that's going out. They can't keep up with all these Hebrew Israelite videos that's going out, and it's a shame. It's a real sad shame that you got certain Hebrew Israelite scholastic, or Israelites that's pretty studied and know full well that all these nations can't be saved. Now all of a sudden they're teaching salvation for all nations. Just crazy, bro. But anyway, let's get this again. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord Yahweh thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Now that's possessive, and that's actually, racist, because the Lord chose one race. He chose one people out of all the nations or nationalities or ethnicities that he created. Now you have these people running around out here talking about, well, pretty much that would be unfair. Well, how can you say that the Lord is unfair? The Lord can do what he want to do. He created everything that we see, touch, and smell. So why can't he choose something out of it or create something that he personally wants for himself? But you can do what you want to do on a day-to-day basis, so to speak. Anyway, come out of here. Let's go into verse 15. Because the Lord is racist. The Lord only chose one race of people. The children of Israel, man. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We can't stress that enough. Don't let nobody fool you into thinking that there's going to be some damn heathen that's going to, be beamed up in these ships that these so-called white people are calling UFOs, and they're going to be hand in hand with us, if we make it type of deal, which we're praying that we do. These people, there's not going to be no salvation coming to these people like that. These are the heathen. They're in their kingdom. They're dogging us out right now. Here you go. You're at the bottom of this man's kingdom. He's not trying to lift you up. He's trying to keep your ass at the bottom. Now, but you want to share your kingdom with him. That's crazy, bro. Verse 15, though, right? And I'm going to jump to this one curse. Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And what they was just talking about in that news article, that is one of those curses, man, in a nutshell. I mean, we're cursed to the point of complete destruction. Our people are so destroyed, they don't even know that they're destroyed. Literally, we are the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to every single thing in society. We're scattered throughout all the four corners of the earth, worshiping other people's gods. They're over us with their money. Our people are killing our own people over money with the so-called white man's face on it. That's crazy. We had to go to this man for food. We had to go to this man for water. We had to go to this man for clothing. Matter of fact, that's one of the curses. Let's get it. Here's one of the curses right here. We're the only nation of people that have to go through that. I think it's verse 46. Let me see here. I'm going to start at verse 43. Deuteronomy 28:43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. Now, you can say, for instance, let's just say Moab, so-called Chinese people today. They're in your neighborhoods. They got the Chinese food stores, you know what I'm saying? They got your, the beauty supply stores. Women go through there and kill that, you know what I'm saying? With the eyelashes, wigs, and nails, and whatever the fuck else that goes with hair. That's just one example. That's just one people. Let's just say where I live here in Michigan, we have what they would say Arabs. It's really Ishmael, the Ishmaelites, you know what I'm saying? Which is number 2. That's the number 2 name on the list of the Lord's enemies in Psalms chapter 83. But they're right amongst us. They're above us right here in our own neighborhoods. I can go to East Story. I can go up the street right now. I don't care which way I go, left or right. You know what I'm saying? East to west, north, south. They own the liquor stores. They own the gas stations. They own the mechanic shops. They own the supermarkets. And them just a few things that they own. But we don't, now it's all so-called black people now, mind you. But we don't own anything in the neighborhood like that. Now we can move on to, you got so-called Japanese. They have little sushi shops and, little, they do hands and feet too. You know what I'm saying? But, that's mainly Moab, which would be the so-called Chinese. But then you have the top dog, the stranger. You got the top stranger, which is Esau Edom, the so-called white race. Now they own the bigger companies, like your Bank of Americas. You go to the bank. McDonald's. Your Wendy's, your Burger Kings, your Little Caesars, your they own the major companies as far as like mechanic shops and like your AutoZones, your whatever they may be called in your cities. What else? I mean, you name it. Just your Walmarts, your Targets, you shit like that. So those are the top strangers, right? So let me get this back again. Deuteronomy 28:43. This is a curse for our people, that our people are under. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. We're the lowest. Like, you're not. What bank can we go to borrow from our own people? Hell, it's you gotta dodge your own people in these neighborhoods now. Beefed out. You get jumped by your own people. Motherfuckers shooting up each other's houses and cars and shootouts, and it's all over, or some bullshit. So, and that's a part of the curses too. That's in here as well. Verse 44. He shall lend to thee. Where do you have to go and get a house loan, a car loan? You need a loan to go to college, school. You know what I'm saying? Any kind of loan. You want some jet skis. You want a damn ATV. You want a motorcycle. You're trying to get a loan. Who do you go to? It's for sure not no so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's for sure. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. We're not lending nobody nothing. And they charging you usury. You paying exorbitant amounts in fucking interest rates. Okay, it says, and he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Now, Jake is good at shit. Jake can, throw a goddamn football 1,000 yards. Nigga can jump from the 3-point line and knock a basketball. He can sing his damn lungs out. He can cook like a motherfucker. He's got all kinds of talents, right? Right? But our talents make them the head because they get the most money out of it. And we're still the tail. Here you go. You got people like Michael Jackson, Prince, all these different people. You know what I'm saying? Before them motherfuckers died, man, they all that money that they made, that shit pretty much went right back to who to them. They still playing these men's songs. These are just a couple of guys I'm mentioning. Still playing their songs to this very day. Still getting money off of those men. And they've been in their grave, been rotted out. All right? Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee. So it's nowhere you going. You can't escape them. Our people try and move out of the neighborhood. No, these curses going to pursue your ass if you have that spirit of Jacob on you. If you're from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, these curses on your ass. You're not getting away. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed. Our people are destroyed, man, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. Right? This is the reason why we're in such a bad state. You got a few of our people, you know what I'm saying? And even them that kind of make it out of the neighborhood, so to speak. You got your LeBrons, you got your damn Eddie Murphys, your Dave Chappelle's, and, your Cat Williams, it's all kinds of NBA players and basketball players, football players, actresses, actors that's made plenty of money in this man's kingdom. They sitting on a lump, but they're only there to influence you, to keep you doofy. They're not there to say, well, you know what, I'm going to do something for my community. Nigga go to the strip club, nigga blow $60,000, $70,000 in ones, in one setting. He only in the club 30 minutes to an hour. He done threw $60,000 around, but he not going to come to the hood. He not going to, and we talking about people, we talking about rappers, men that do this shit all the time, regularly. Blow millions in the club per year, enriching some fake ass bitch with the nails on, the damn eyelashes with the fake ass, the fake tits, enriching them, and then they'll come through and get to talking about a goddamn turkey for Thanksgiving for the kids, trying to make it seem as if they're helping the community and shit, by giving you a damn turkey on a murderous holiday that killed our people. So that's backwards. That right there is a part of the curses that we're under. And even if Jake tried to do that, you gotta, Jake get to do a couple of little things, but it's not nothing too major. You get to getting too far out of hand, Esau, he'll clip your wings, man. Especially those, the tiny new air hat dudes. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, verse 46, Deuteronomy 28:46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So we know who the children of Israel are, because the children of Israel are the ones that's going to be going through this. Those people over in Israel don't go through this kind of stuff. You will never hear of an Israeli with them little curly curls hanging from the side of the goddamn head with that little bitty ass hat on, and a goddamn Dodge Charger spinning the block on his ops. With a rifle hanging out of the window, just shooting up Big Mama house. No, you're not going to hear about them doing nothing like that. They're not under those curses. They're the lenders. They're the ones that actually have the banks. They're not the borrowers. They're not the tail. You know, that fits us. Verse 47, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore, this is the point that I wanted to get to. And this is, you know, read all the way through on your own time, Deuteronomy chapter 28. You know, go all the way down to verse 68, because it talks about us going into slavery on ships as well. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. These are not our friends. Notice what it says. Thine enemies. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me get this word enemy. H341. Because you Negroes, you live here in the Americas, and you go out with your little so-called, I got white friends. You know, I'm cool with Tom. You know, and Becky, they're all coming over for the holidays. We're going to drink eggnog. Yeah, all right. Anyway, now that word enemy is going off into hating, an adversary, enemy, foe, right? H340, let me see what that one is. A primitive root to hate as one of an opposite tribe or party, hence to be hostile, be an enemy. And that's exactly who these people are, enemies of yours. That's why it's no problem with them giving you 30. And matter of fact, them numbers that they talking about, we already know them numbers is off. If they saying 30%, we know it's got to be well in the 60s or 70%. And also, they talking about similar crimes. You know what I'm saying? No, Esau is doing far worse crimes and getting less time than Jake getting, man. Right? So it says there, Deuteronomy 28 and 48 again. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger. We had to go to them for food, right? That's another thing. Like I said, our enemies own the supermarkets. Jake don't own no, especially in these cities. Oh my, no, you definitely in the cities. You going to get, you just gotta just pick through. I be going to the going to the supermarket, man, right here in the hood. You know, we know that we eat our bread amongst the Gentiles. You know, it talks about us eating defiled bread amongst these Gentile nations, man. You know, and all you can do is just go through and just pick the best of it. The one that look okay. And even the one that look okay, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they be adding dyes to this shit. They be adding all kinds of little preservatives to this shit to make it look like it's still fresh. You know, we have to deal with this. Fruits and vegetables. I just done a lesson on, they was talking about puberty with our kids, basically. It's coming through 2 years quicker. You know what I'm saying? So here you go. You can have an 8-year-old daughter with full-fledged titties. Pubic hairs already, man. Ass already bulging. Because of the hormones that they're putting in the milk. You know? Them school milks and shit like that. That school, especially that school food. And then not to mention, I just seen and I think I still got that article. I may have to go back and see if I can find it. I be seeing so many articles as I'm searching to do lessons. Where it was an article on the prison food or the ultra processed foods and that's all that the prisoners get. They don't really get no fresh food at all. But they was talking about the ultra processed food and how they had made like, I don't know how many trillions of dollars. This is one company owned by Edomites that make I'm thinking more than likely small tops, small hats. But you know, they was talking about how fucked up and sick it's making our people in the prisons, man. So this man, he matter of fact, I'm gonna have to try and find that article, but it may be another lesson. But anyway, it says that we would have to go to him in hunger. It says, and in thirst. So if you want anything to drink, what you shouldn't be drinking any of this soda, pop, or juice, or none of that shit. All that shit, it'll fuck your ass up. That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? But if you do want something to drink, you know, you can drink coffee or tea, you know, in moderation type of deal. But even if you want that, who are you getting it from? You're getting it from him. You got to pay for a damn water bill. Water coming through your faucets. Some badass water at that. It's not even good water. That water is not to be drinking, man. It's not even to be washing up in. You can't even bathe in that water. That water fuck you. but guess what? We do the best that we can. We really don't have no choice in a lot of situations. But it says, and in thirst, and in nakedness. Here you go. It's getting cool outside. Where do you think you're getting gloves from? Where you think you're getting a scarf from, or mittens, or a coat, or you know, some long johns, some damn drawers, some socks. even just regular pants, even in the summertime, some shorts, sandals, flip-flops. Where you think all this is coming from? It's him. It's your enemy that own all that shit. You got to go to him for it. It says, and in want of all things. Hell, even here in America, you know, you don't have to, because we don't. But you got to go to this man to get, you know, for this man to tell. Matter of fact, he's telling you that your woman or your man, you're married to him. You're married to them by what he says, by you signing paperwork with him. You know, your children, man, belong to this man in his kingdom. He can come in, kick it down. He can have SWAT, man. He can have the damn military pop up if you resist to that point, and take your damn kids and take your ass to jail too. He has total power over us. And then you Israelites are out here talking about this man is going to be sharing our kingdom with us. No, motherfucker. What would be the use in that? Where are their punishments going? Where? Come on, bro. When do they get punished? They don't get punished. They're going to get punished just for being fucking hypocrites. Again, here you go. They got something called a DOJ, the Department of Defense or Department of Justice, and you're not issuing out no real justice. That's why the scriptures talks about that Psalms 50 and 16. What is thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou should take my covenant in thy mouth, since thou castest my words behind thee? You don't keep nothing that's in the Bible, man. But here you go. This motherfucker got people swearing in on the Bible. He's talking about a Christian nation. He's talking about Christian nationalism. Matter of fact, out in I want to do a lesson on that too. I think Texas, where they was trying to they did have the 10 Commandments. You know, they came up with that little bill, put the 10 Commandments in these schools. And so now what they're saying is they got to take that shit down in like 14 counties. Or whatever, because, you know, you got certain people that don't agree with it, and this, that, and the third. But what are you doing with the 10 Commandments in the schools to begin with when you don't keep nothing that's in the scriptures, acting as if you're the righteous, man? That shit don't make no sense. Okay, but it says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Now, I used to put in yoke of iron online, and they may not, they didn't kind of got rid of it. They don't even have it up, the pictures up no more, because normally when you put in this yoke of iron and all you got to do is do a web search. Let me see. Oh, they don't have it like that. But you used to be able to put this yoke of iron in, right? I don't know why I don't say web search. I should be able to do a web search on it. But anyway, normally when you do it, let me see though. No, well, I don't even have to go into it, but you can do that on your own. But normally when it says that yoke of iron and you put it on the web search, it's nothing but so-called black people show up, going back into slavery with the yokes of iron actually on their neck. But you know, Esau, he been scrubbing stuff because he wasn't expecting us to go into these things, man, and to research these things and bring it out to the people, man. So it's really shameful spewing on Esau, man. Okay, so now let's go off into why. Basically, the reason as to why they're not getting the same amount of time that our people are getting. Because this is their kingdom overall. Of course, Esau is not going to give his own people the same, you know, because it's a perpetual hatred. This is a real spiritual thing, man. You got to realize how spiritual this is. This is Psalm 73. I'm going to start at verse 3. And it says, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Because they've been wicked as hell and been prospering for so long. Now, I will say, it's not going so well for them like how it used to go. You know what I'm saying? Like Esau not doing as well as he used to do. Now, you have the elite of them. They still popping. They still doing their thing. But when it comes to these regular Edomites, you know, it's not what it used to be, man. You know, the middle class of them are pretty much demolished. All that shit is gone, man. But it says, for there are no bands, Psalm 73 and 4. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men. See? Neither are they plagued like other men. That's the thing. That's the reason why, you know, they're saying 30%. We know that them numbers is way off. But that's the reason why they're getting 30% less jail time for the same crimes. because they're not in trouble as other men. A lot of the times they ain't getting no jail time at all. Motherfuckers going to the house, man. You just had a Edomite. So many stories, man. I be seeing so many stories, man. But, you know, supposedly, you know, he's school teacher. And he done wrote this 11-year-old 60 love letters. You know what I'm saying? 60 of them. And all they gave that guy was some probation, man. And one like they went and ran down on him, swooped down on him, and you know, he had a chance to turn himself in. That's Esau. Esau, he get a chance to wait a couple of weeks. Well, you know, my eternity, we're gonna walk in on such and such date. Oh, but when it comes to you, Jake, they kicking your motherfucking door in for little shit. Anyway, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain. That's how you can be so prideful. You know, it's say like Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he's really prideful because there's nothing being done to him. But the Lord is gonna get him. See, he's feeling like he's bulletproof. That's the reason why he's so prideful. Oh, look at me, nobody can touch me, nobody can fuck with me. You know, because nothing is being done right now. Now there's a scripture that talks about, because I'm trying to think how it's worded. It talks about I think it's in Ecclesiastes. Let me see. I don't want to spend a while on it. But it talks about judgment speedily. I think it's in Ecclesiastes. Maybe I'm wrong. Or is it Psalms? Yep, Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. It says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil, because it's not like it's an instant ass whooping. But guess what? Look at what's happening right now. The ass whooping has begun. He's kicking, screaming, and crying, trying to grab the belt. You know, I remember back in the days, man. Hey, you getting your ass whipped and you grab that belt. Hey, you ain't do nothing but make pops and moms even more pissed, man. They put it on you a little bit worse. But see, Esau, he's very prideful, man. Verse 6 again, it says, therefore pride compasseth him, Salakia, Psalm 73 and 6. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. So on the ass is like a chain, man. You know, like you chained up, that shit on, like it's just on you. You can't even get the shit off. Like how they actually be having Jake chained up. See Jake walking through the damn, he in court, shit all around his waist. You know, they got a damn spit mask on him. His damn hands and shit is all, you know, all chained up. His feet chained up with some damn flip-flops on. Hey, Esau gotta pay, man. Okay, it says violence covereth them as a garment. And these are the most violent people on the planet. No one's touching Esau when it comes to that violence. Why? Because Esau was blessed with the sword. That's how we know who Esau is, because he uses that sword so well, right? It says their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. That's why they sit there, they talk shit all about Jake. We don't care nothing about that. You can go into the comment boards, which I did, you know, I'm not going to go into it. But if you go into them comment boards, what you're going to see is Esau don't give a fuck. They don't believe it. It don't even matter to them. You know, they coming up with excuses as to why it's actually done that way. They're not looking at the data. They're not looking like, well, damn, this is true. They don't give a fuck about that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make a way to make it seem as if it's not true, because that's how Esau gets down, man. You have to understand that. You're dealing with an enemy. You're not dealing with friends here, man. So just wanted to bring that out, man. I'm going to end out there. And also, you know, Esau is being revealed. That's another thing, too. You have to realize that 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, that man is sin, the son of perdition, is being revealed. That's why so many of these stories is coming out like this. Esau is telling on themselves. That's Psalm 64 and 8. You know, they're revealing them own selves, but it's a time for them to be revealed. That's the whole thing. See, it's prophetic. You know, we're living our prophecy right now because we're at an end. We're coming to an end, which is a beautiful thing. So again, I'm going to end out there. I pray that the lesson was edifying. With that, Kwame Yasha Allah and a bubble ball.